Part 1. The new general manager. Barnacle Burger didn't announce the change. One day the old general manager stopped showing up. The next day there was a new one. His name was Trent Blaylock. Trent was 26 years old and proud of it. Not because of experience, but because he was convinced experience was overrated. He had just earned his associate's degree in business administration from the local community college. Frame hung behind his desk, slightly crooked. The ink was still fresh enough to smell like optimism. Trent believed deeply in what he'd learned. Margins, labor percentages, cost control. He used phrases like operational efficiency and labor optimization within his first hour on site. Nobody asked him to stop. Trent's first walkthrough. On his first day, Trent did what all new general managers do. He walked, clipboard in hand, shoes too clean for the kitchen, nodding like he was auditing a factory. He didn't ask how things worked. He measured them. Timers, portion scoops, schedules taped to the wall. And then he reached the fry station. The fry guy's name was Dale. Most people didn't know that. They just called him the fry guy, not as a nickname but as a function. Dale had worked fries at Barnacle Burger for 3 years. Same shift, same station, same quiet routine. He didn't talk much. He didn't complain. He didn't rush. The fryer popped and hissed softly in front of him like it always did. Dale adjusted the basket without looking at the timer. He didn't need to. Trent notices something. Trent stopped walking. That alone was unusual. He stared at the fry station for a moment longer than necessary. Not at the fries. At the time card sheet clipped to the wall. Dale's name stood out. Not because of attendance. Perfect. Not because of overtime. None. But because of the number next to his wage. $1 over minimum. Trent frowned. He tapped his pen against the clipboard. What? Twice. Then he asked a question that sounded casual but wasn't. Hey, how long you been here? Dale didn't look up. 3 years. Trent nodded, writing something down. And you're on fries every shift? Yes. You ever train anyone? Dale paused just slightly. When they ask. That answer didn't sit right with Trent. The degree versus the fryer. Trent stepped back and watched Dale work. He saw a basket lowered, a timer ignored, a shake done early, a pull done late. Everything Dale did technically violated the chart on the wall. And yet, the fries came out perfect. Trent didn't see skill. He saw risk. Unstandardized behavior. Uncontrolled variables. A person doing something his own way. That's not how Trent's textbooks described success. And then there was the wage. A full dollar over minimum. Trent ran the math in his head. $1 an hour. 5 shifts a week. 52 weeks. Multiply that by every employee who thought they were special. That's how businesses failed. The idea forms. Later that afternoon, Trent sat in the back office. Air conditioner rattling. Degree watching him. He highlighted a line in his labor spreadsheet. Fry station, overstaffed/overpaid. He smiled. Not because he disliked Dale. Because he believed he'd found a solution. Anyone could do fries. The manual said so. The video said so. The timers were there for a reason. All he needed was someone willing to work for minimum wage. And he already knew who he would train. The setup. That evening, Trent walked back onto the floor. Dale was salting a fresh batch. Trent waited until the basket was empty. Then he said pleasantly, "Hey Dale. Tomorrow I'm gonna have you train someone new on fries." Dale looked up. "Just once." "Okay." Trent smiled wider. "Should be easy, right?" Dale hesitated. Just enough for the fryer to hiss between them. "Fries aren't hard," Dale said. Trent nodded, satisfied. That was all he needed to hear. Part 2. The training. The new fry cook arrived the next afternoon. His name was Evan. He was Trent's nephew. Trent made sure everyone knew that without actually saying it. Evan was 19, fresh out of high school and built entirely out of enthusiasm. He wore his hat crooked on purpose. He chewed gum like it owed him money. The kind of kid who said, yeah, before you finished a sentence. The introduction. Trent brought Evan onto the floor personally. Hand on the shoulder. Proud posture. "All right everybody, this is Evan. He's gonna be training on fries." Evan grinned and waved like he was being introduced at a family barbecue. "What's up guys?" Nobody replied. They were watching Dale. Dale nodded once. Setting expectations, Trent turned to Dale. "I want you to show him how you do fries." He paused, then added, casual but deliberate, "The right way. The manual way." Dale didn't argue. He never did. "Okay." Evan leaned closer to the fryer, squinting. This is easy, right? Dale looked at him. Really looked. Then said, it's simple. Evan smiled. Yeah. The lesson begins. Dale started the way he always did. Not with the basket. With the oil. He turned a knob just slightly, not enough to register on the dial. Evan watched for about 3 seconds. Then looked away. So you just drop him when the timer beeps? Dale shook his head. Timer's a suggestion. Evan laughed. Yeah. Trent, standing a few feet back, frowned. He made a note on his clipboard. Dale explains carefully. Dale lowered the basket. Not fast. Not slow. You don't dump the fries all at once, he said. You let the oil accept them. Evan blinked. Accept them? Oil cools when you rush it, Dale said. Then it never recovers. Evan nodded vigorously. Yeah, makes sense. It did not make sense to him. Evan tries. Dale stepped aside. Your turn. Evan grabbed the basket immediately. Dropped it too fast. The oil hissed louder than usual. Dale's eyes flicked to the fryer. Trent didn't notice. See? Evan said. Same thing. Dale said nothing. Evan set the timer. Waited. Shook the basket aggressively halfway through. You gotta keep him moving, right? Not like that, Dale said quietly. Yeah. Trent cleared his throat. Let him learn, Dale. Dale stepped back. The first batch. The timer beeped. Evan pulled the fries. They were, okay. Not bad. Not good. Just fries. Evan dumped them into the tray and salted them hard. Boom, he said. Nailed it. Trent smiled. That smile said, see? He turned to Dale. Looks fine to me. Dale nodded. They're fine. That wasn't agreement. It was a warning. The unasked question. Evan leaned against the counter. So you just been doing this 3 years? Yes. Damn. I'd go crazy. Some people do. Evan laughed. Yeah. Trent checked his watch. All right, I think that's good. Evan, you'll shadow today, solo tomorrow. Evan grinned. Easy money. Dale looked at the fryer again. The oil popped. A little uneven. The line everyone ignores. As Trent walked away, Dale said something. Soft. Almost swallowed by the kitchen noise. Oil remembers how it's treated. Trent stopped. Turned. What was that? Dale met his eyes. Nothing. Trent stared for a second longer. Then nodded. Good work today. And he left. Part 3. A new direction. The meeting happened in the afternoon. Not at the end of the shift. Not privately. Just when it was convenient. Trent stood near the office doorway, clipboard tucked under his arm like a shield. Dale, can I talk to you for a second? Dale nodded. He washed his hands first. The back office smelled like old coffee and printer ink. Trent didn't sit. He leaned against the desk, casual, practiced. Evan wasn't there. He never was. Trent cleared his throat, not because he was nervous but because this was a procedure. So, we've been reviewing labor costs. Dale listened. And we're just kind of moving in a new direction. There it was. The phrase that ends things without explaining anything. Nothing personal, Trent added quickly. This isn't about performance. Dale waited. Trent continued, warming up now. Evan brings a younger perspective to the station. He's more in line with where the brand's headed. Dale blinked. What? The brand? Trent smiled politely. Energy. Efficiency. Consistency. He gestured vaguely toward the wall where the fry chart hung. And honestly, your way of doing things, it's just not scalable. That word again. Scalable. Trent checked a box on his clipboard. The explanation that explains nothing. You're good at what you do, Trent said, sincerely believing it. But we need people who follow the system. Dale nodded. I do. Trent waved that off gently. You follow your system. He smiled like this was clever. And that's not a bad thing. It's just not what we're looking for anymore. Dale looked past Trent at the door. The fryer hissed in the distance. The line, Trent lowered his voice. This was the part he liked least but felt obligated to deliver. Look, this industry's small. And places aren't really looking for fry specialists these days. There it was. The warning dressed as advice. You've been here a while. I just don't want you thinking you can walk into another place doing things your way. Life doesn't work like that. Dale met his eyes. Not angry. Just tired. I wasn't planning to. That made Trent uncomfortable. Wrapping it up, Trent slid a paper across the desk. We'll pay out the rest of your shift. Dale didn't touch it. You can grab your things. Dale nodded again. He stood. Before leaving he said one thing, not defensive, not dramatic. Just factual. The fries will taste different. Trent laughed lightly. That's what the seasoning's for. Dale opened the door. The walkout, on the floor, Evan was already on fries. Solo. Timer beeping. Basket shaking too early. Evan saw Dale and grinned. Hey man, Dale nodded once. Then kept walking. The door closed behind him. The fryer popped unevenly. Aftermath, Trent watched Dale leave through the front window. He felt relief. This was clean. Professional. Necessary. He looked at the fry station. Evan dumped another batch. Trent smiled. See, he said to no one. Anyone can do fries. The fries hit the tray. They looked fine. They always do at first. Part 4, the resume. Dale didn't rush. That surprised even him. The morning after the firing he woke up at the same time he always did. Not out of panic. Out of habit. He made coffee. Stood at the counter. And stared at nothing for a while. Then he opened his laptop. Indeed. Dale had never used Indeed before. At Barnacle Burger people didn't leave. They just stayed. The website asked him to build a profile. That took longer than expected. Not because he had a lot to say, but because most of what he did didn't fit neatly into boxes. Experience, fry cook skills, fryer operation, food safety, time management. Dale frowned. He added a few more lines. Maintain consistency across high-volume shifts, adjusted cook times based on oil behavior, train new staff on fry station fundamentals. He stopped typing. That felt like too much. He deleted half of it. Dale wasn't good at selling himself. He clicked upload resume. They just stayed. The website asked him to build a profile. That took longer than expected. Not because he had a lot to say, but because most of what he did didn't fit neatly into boxes. Experience, fry cook skills, fryer operation, food safety, time management. Dale frowned. He added a few more lines. Maintain consistency across high-volume shifts, adjusted cook times based on oil behavior, train new staff on fry station fundamentals. He stopped typing. That felt like too much. He deleted half of it. Dale wasn't good at selling himself. He clicked upload resume. Somewhere else entirely. 2 states away, in a glass-walled office that smelled faintly of citrus cleaner, Marianne Cole was already having a bad morning. Marianne was the general manager of a McConnell's flagship location. She had a bachelor's degree in business administration. Not framed. Not displayed. Just used. She believed in systems too. But unlike Trent, she believed systems existed to support people, not erase them. Marianne was reviewing a weekly report when a notification popped up on her screen. New resume match. Indeed, she sighed. Most of them were noise. She clicked it anyway. The resume that didn't try. Marianne read the first line. Dale Talman, fry cook. No buzzwords. No inflated titles. No culinary artist. She kept reading. 3 years. Same station. Same restaurant. No promotions. No job hopping. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. Then she saw the wage history. $1 over minimum. She paused. That number mattered. Not because it was high. Because it was intentional. Someone had made a choice to pay him more. And then, stopped. Marianne scrolled. Her eyes stopped on one line. Adjusted cook times based on oil behavior. She leaned back. Read it again. Then said quietly to an empty office, "Oh." Pattern recognition. Marianne opened another window. Pulled up internal McConnell's data on Barnacle Burger. Customer feedback. Drive-through times. Regional comparisons. She searched one thing, Barnacle Burger, Dale. The system populated a graph. And the graph told a story. Lunch rushes stabilized. Complaints dropped. Repeat visits increased. Then, suddenly, flatlined. Marianne checked the date. 2 days ago. She didn't smile. She didn't celebrate. She picked up the phone. The call to corporate. Corporate answered on the second ring. Corporate REP, McConnell's operations. Marianne didn't waste time. I think I found our fry guy. Pause. Not a cook. Not a trainer. A stabilizer. The rep hesitated. From where? Barnacle Burger. Another pause. What's his background? Marianne glanced at the resume again. Quiet. Consistent. Underpaid. Recently let go. She added one more thing. And whoever fired him didn't know what they were losing. Silence. Then. Corporate REP, send me the resume. Marianne already had. The call Dale wasn't expecting. Dale was rinsing his coffee mug when his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. Almost. He answered. Hello. Marianne's voice was calm. Professional. Hi, Dale. My name's Marianne. I'm a general manager with McConnell's. Dale said nothing. So she continued. I saw your resume. And I want to be very clear, I'm not calling you about a job posting. Boss. I'm calling because I think you're the person we've been missing. Dale leaned against the counter. Missing? Yes, she said. And I don't think Barnacle Burger realized they lost you. Silence. Then Dale asked the only question that mattered to him. How are your fries? Marianne smiled. Inconsistent. Dale nodded. I can help. Part 5, The Drift. Back at Barnacle Burger, nothing collapsed. That was the problem. The first few days after Dale left were fine. The fries looked the same. The trays filled. The timers beeped. Trent noticed the numbers before he noticed the people. Labor costs were down. Schedules were tighter. The spreadsheet smiled back at him. Evan worked fries every shift now. He was proud of that. Subtle changes. Customers didn't complain right away. They hesitated. They ate more slowly. Some left fries behind. One woman frowned at her tray and said nothing. A man asked for extra salt. Another asked if the oil had been changed recently. Kyle, working register, started hearing the same phrase more often. These taste different. Not bad. Just different. Kyle mentioned it to Trent. Trent waved it off. People hate change. There hadn't been any change. That was the point. Evan feels it. By the end of the first week, Evan was tired. Not physically. Mentally. The fryer felt louder. The oil seemed unpredictable. Sometimes fries came out pale. Sometimes too dark. Sometimes perfect, just long enough to confuse him. He followed the chart exactly. That made it worse. I don't get it, Evan muttered one afternoon. I'm doing everything right. Kyle shrugged. Dale didn't use the chart. Evan laughed too loudly. Yeah, well, Dale's gone. The fryer popped sharply. The first complaints, week 2, brought comments. Not angry ones. Concerned ones. A Yelp review appeared. Still good, but fries aren't what they used to be. Another. Anyone else notice the fries changed? Trent read them and frowned. He replied to one personally. Thanks for the feedback. We're always working to improve consistency. Consistency. The word again. Evan cracks. By week 3, Evan was drowning. The lunch rush hit harder than he expected. Orders stacked up. Timers overlapped. The oil temperature drifted. He shook baskets too early. Then too late. Nothing settled. Evan snapped at Kyle. Kyle snapped back. A tray of fries hit the trash. Evan leaned against the counter, breathing hard. Why is this so hard? No one answered. The call from corporate. The call came midweek. Not during a rush. Not during a crisis. Which is how Trent knew it mattered. Corporate never called when things were on fire. They called when something didn't make sense. Trent stepped into the office and shut the door. Corporate. We're seeing an uptick in customer feedback. Trent relaxed slightly. That happens sometimes. Pause. Not disagreement. Just silence. Corporate. What's unusual is that it's about fries. Trent frowned. Fries. Yes, corporate said. Specifically, consistency. Trent glanced at the chart on the wall. We haven't changed suppliers. Oil schedule's the same. Procedure hasn't moved. Another pause. Corporate. That's why we're calling. Trent straightened. Calling? Because you've had 3 years of near-zero fry complaints. Then within 2 weeks we see comments like, a paper shuffled on the other end. Something's off. Fries taste different lately. Still good but not the same. Corporate didn't raise their voice. They didn't need to. Corporate. Those aren't angry customers. Those are confused ones. Trent swallowed. People are sensitive to change. Corporate. What changed? The question hung there longer than Trent expected. Nothing operational, he said finally. Same equipment. Same training materials. Corporate waited. Trent added carefully, we did make a small staffing adjustment. Corporate. At the fry station? Yes. Another pause. Longer this time. Corporate. Who was there before? Trent hesitated. Just a fraction of a second. A long-term associate. Corporate. And now. A newer one. Younger. Energetic. Corporate exhaled. Not frustrated. Concerned. Corporate. So the system didn't change. The person did. Trent forced a smile even though they couldn't see it. We're confident it's a short-term transition. Silence again. Then, corporate, transitions usually show up immediately. Trent said nothing. Corporate, this one took 3 years to notice. The line clicked dead. Dale elsewhere. At McConnell's, Dale listened as Marianne explained what she'd heard through industry chatter. Barnacle Burger struggling. Complaints rising. Fry station instability. Marianne watched Dale carefully. Any thoughts? Dale didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He didn't say I told you so. He said, it's a transition. Marianne blinked. That's it. Yes, Dale said. They removed the stabilizer. The system hasn't realized it yet. She waited. It'll get worse before it gets better, Dale added. Unless they fix the cause. Marianne nodded slowly. Do you think they will? Dale looked down at the fryer. The oil shimmered evenly. No. Part 6, 1 month later. A month passed. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just steadily. The numbers at McConnell's. Nobody noticed Dale at first. That was intentional. He wasn't announced. He wasn't introduced. He was simply placed on the fry station and left alone. And then the report started changing. Not all at once. But enough to raise eyebrows. Fry waste. Down 75%. Burnt batches disappeared. Overcooked trays stopped hitting the trash. Oil lasted longer. Not because it was changed less, but because it was treated correctly. Sales, up 12%, not from marketing. Not from promotions. From people coming back. The question corporate asked. Corporate didn't celebrate. They investigated. They pulled footage. They reviewed schedules. They compared locations. And eventually someone asked the question out loud, what's different about this store? The answer wasn't equipment. It wasn't staffing levels. It was a single line in the schedule. Dale Fry Station. Watching quietly, they watched him work. Not live. On camera. They noticed things the manuals didn't mention. He adjusted temperature before problems appeared. He slowed the station during rushes instead of speeding it up. He trained without interrupting. He didn't correct people loudly. He just stood closer when something mattered. And somehow, the chaos settled around him. The meeting, they didn't call Dale into an office. They came to the store. 2 people from corporate. Polos. Clipboards. Marianne was there too. Dale finished his batch before speaking. That mattered to him. The offer. Corporate didn't use buzzwords. That surprised Dale. We think you understand something our training doesn't. Pause. And we think we've been trying to write around it instead of learning it. They explained what they wanted. Not a promotion. A role. They wanted Dale to help rewrite the Fry training program. Not just instructions, but judgment. How to feel when oil was off. How to recognize drift. How to prevent mistakes instead of reacting to them. They wanted him to train the trainers. The terms, they laid it out clearly. Salary, $45,000 a year, full-time, salaried position. Paid tuition to finish his community college degree, free meals for him and his family. At any McConnell's location. No expiration. No fine print. Just respect. Dale's response. Dale didn't answer right away. He asked one question. Will I still work fries? Corporate exchanged a look. When you want to, Marianne said. Dale nodded. Okay. That was it. Elsewhere. Back at Barnacle Burger, Evan was on his 3rd oil change of the day. Trent was reworking schedules again. Corporate hadn't called back. Customers were no longer confused. They were gone. Part 7. The accounting. At Barnacle Burger, the numbers stopped lining up. Not gradually. Abruptly. The math nobody could ignore anymore. Fry costs spiked first. Oil orders increased. Potato usage doubled. Waste logs, once a formality, became uncomfortable to read. For every 1 order of fries sold, 3 were thrown away. Burnt. Undercooked. Inconsistent. The fryer never rested. And still, nothing stabilized. Trent blamed portions. Then suppliers. Then training gaps. The spreadsheet didn't care. The reviews, Yelp noticed before corporate did. It always does. The tone changed. Not rage. Disappointment. Used to love this place. Something happened here. Fries are a gamble now. Then Google reviews, which hardly anyone used, started filling in. That's when corporate took it seriously. Because people don't leave Google reviews unless they're confused or done. Corporate comes in, they didn't call first. They showed up. 3 people this time. No polos. No clipboards. Tablets. They sat in the dining area during lunch. They watched trays go out. They watched fries come back untouched. One of them took notes. Another didn't need to. The meeting, Trent was asked to step into the office. Evan was taken off of the fries. That alone told him everything. Corporate didn't accuse. They asked questions. Walk us through fry prep. Who's currently assigned? When was the last time this station was stable? Trent answered carefully, confidently. Wrong. They pulled up charts. Waste percentages. Complaint timelines. Revenue decline. One line cut through all of it. The problems begin the week your fry specialist left. Trent said nothing. Decisions? Corporate didn't debate. They concluded. Evan was reassigned. Not fired. Moved to salads. A station where timing mattered less and mistakes could be hidden. Evan didn't argue. He looked relieved. Trent's turn came next. The title change was explained gently. Assistant manager. No tone. No judgment. Just a correction. Trent nodded. He understood now. Too late but clearly. The new general manager arrived the following Monday. Older. Quieter. No degree on the wall. First thing she asked was simple. Who ran fries before? Everyone answered at once. Dale. The call. Dale was reviewing training notes when his phone rang. A known number. He answered. This is Dale. The voice on the other end was steady. Hi Dale. My name's Rebecca. I'm the new GM at Barnacle Burger. Pause. I won't pretend we didn't make mistakes. Another pause. I'm calling to ask what it would take for you to come back. Dale didn't answer immediately. He looked at the fryer in front of him. Oil calm. Station steady. He asked a question instead. Are you trying to fix the fries, or the reason they broke? Silence. Then, both, Rebecca said. Dale nodded slowly. Then we can talk. Part 8, the NO. Dale didn't ask for time to think. He didn't negotiate. He didn't revisit old grievances. He met Rebecca after his shift, standing near the fry station at Barnacle Burger, the oil calm, the baskets resting. Rebecca spoke carefully. We're prepared to make this right. Dale nodded. I believe you. She hesitated. Then, what would it take for you to come back? Dale didn't look at her right away. He looked at the fryer. Then he spoke, not loudly, not bitterly, just clearly. I don't think Barnacle Burger needs me back. Rebecca frowned. We do. Dale shook his head. You need what I represented. She waited. I didn't lose my job because fries failed, Dale continued. I lost it because what I knew wasn't recognized. Rebecca started to respond, but he held up a hand, gentle, not dismissive. This isn't about money. Or titles. Or being right. He met her eyes. It's about respect showing up before the damage, not after. Silence. Then softer. You didn't ask me to leave. You decided I didn't matter. Rebecca swallowed. I understand. Dale nodded. I think you do now. He offered a small smile. I hope you fix it. Just, not with me. And that was it. No speech.no lecture, just a boundary set cleanly. Epilogue. 5 years later, 5 years passed. This time things changed quickly. The building was small. Industrial. Clean. A simple sign out front read. The Fry School. Underneath, in smaller letters, consistency, a judgment, respect. Inside there were no menus. No registers. Just fryers, different models. Different oils. Different problems. Students stood quietly, notebooks closed. Because Dale didn't start with writing. He started with watching. Dale now was older. Calmer. Still quiet. He wore no uniform. Just an apron lightly stained. He taught in short sentences. Listen first. Don't rush the oil. If you're confused, slow down. People came from everywhere. Chain restaurants. Hotels. Food trucks. Some were sent by companies. Others paid their own way. Because they'd learned something the hard way. The class. On this day Dale walked between stations, hands behind his back. He stopped at one fryer. Wash. Then said, You're shaking too early. The student froze. Sorry, he said quickly. I keep thinking faster is better. Dale shook his head. Faster is louder, he said. Better is calmer. The student nodded. Yeah. Dale paused. Looked at him more closely now. What's your name? Evan. Dale nodded. No recognition. No reaction. Just acknowledgement. Again, Dale said. Evan adjusted. Slowed. Waited. The fries came out right. Dale gave a single nod. There it is. Evan let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. After class, as students packed up, Evan lingered. Mr. Talloman? Dale turned. You used to work at Barnacle Burger, right? Dale smiled faintly. A long time ago. Evan swallowed. I worked fries after you left. Dale studied him for a moment. Not with judgment. With understanding. Then you know, Dale said. Evan nodded. I do now. Dale gestured toward the fryer. That's why you're here. Final image, the fryer hummed softly. Students listened. Oil shimmered. Outside, the sign caught the afternoon light. The Fry School. And beneath it, a truth that had taken years for people to learn. Skill doesn't demand attention. But when it's ignored, everything else pays for it.